Hello everybody, this video is entitled Each Day Gets Worse, the Purge. And of course I refer to the heavy liquidations that people are getting in crypto, in Bitcoin, and on leverage, blowing up their margin accounts, losing all of their money on 2x leveraged ETFs who have never been designed to be held more than a few days, blowing their accounts on options. So each day gets worse, and frankly, this is because unlike the human IQ, which really bottoms out at about 50, except for some people, some of which you probably know, but unlike human IQ, the market IQ has no bottom. Actually, the market's IQ can go negative. This is nuts. The future is being entirely sold, and the past is being bought up. This is absolutely crazy that, for example, purveyors of diabetes are up 12.7% for the week. Old grocery stores who are failing at internet are up very, very, very nicely, as if grocery stores were still going to be a thing 20 years from now. And I don't think they are going to be. We're going to get everything delivered. This is going to be just like it already is in Asia. Sell the future, buy the past. Of course, traditional auto is up. Tesla's way down. Amazon's way down. Google's way down. Amazing earnings down. Microsoft, Nvidia, Broadcom, Oracle, Palantir, outstanding earning. Boom. Slap in the face for Palantir. Palantir is down a lot. AMD down a lot. It almost doesn't matter. Good earnings, bad earnings. The market is selling it off. And why? Because it's a liquidity problem under the hood. But yeah, if you want to invest in truck stops and Dairy Queen, Berkshire is up 6%. The banking conglomerates are up 1%, 2%. Companies that thrive on patents and charging an arm and leg for their products are also up. Old world is up. And so Wall Street would have you believe that if you want to have a more stable portfolio, you should buy the losers too. You should buy the losers too if you want to have a stable portfolio. If you are a follower of this channel, you know we don't buy the losers on this channel. We buy companies that disrupt. We buy companies that have the ability to be most of the index. Right? Nvidia, Microsoft, Broadcom, these are companies who are number one in the index, right? Palantir one day may be a square as big as Nvidia in this. But that's because we withstand the volatility. We agree to the volatility, and the volatility in the 20s has been nuts, and it is getting worse and worse and worse. And that's just the way it is. And so that's why I don't think I'm exaggerating when I'm calling this video the purge, because the level of pain, and I have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. It could get worse tomorrow. I don't know. But this is pretty nuts. People are pointing out, so of course talking about Bitcoin, about Solana, but keep in mind the violent moves that we also had in the silver market and in the gold market. People are pointing out the violence at which these moves happen. These moves happen much, much, much more violently than before. People could get shaken out. I'm thinking about, for example, say, what if you borrow against your Bitcoin at 50% LTV at the top? Oh, wait, we retraced back another 50%. So boom, you'd be in a margin call now if you had borrowed against your Bitcoin. So again, the time-honored rules of Bitcoin, which is, don't do leverage. What Munger always said, ladies, liquor, and leverage. These are the three main ways a man can go broke. Sorry if there's a woman in the audience. But this is true. People should not do leverage. The reason why we have this madness in the market is because too many people are doing leverage. Too many people are getting wiped out. And so temporarily, the assets of the future are being sold off like insanity. Make no mistake, Bitcoin has the potential to disrupt bonds, to disrupt banking, to disrupt fiat, to disrupt value. That's why Bitcoin went from nothing to $126,000 a coin in a matter of how long? Was it 16, 17 years, 18 years, something like that? Right? One of the quickest assets to grow to $1 trillion in the history of the world. And the debate is up between Tesla and Bitcoin. Tesla, actually, I believe, was a little bit faster. But of course, everybody's telling you now that Bitcoin is worthless, and it's the usual thing. And we used to go through this like every 4 years. That's what people used to call the Bitcoin cycle. Now it seems like with the madness of this market in the 2020s, we get a black swan, we get a gray swan every 6 months, maybe every 4 months now, 10, and then now we have today. Like, what's going on? Solana is 78. Solana is a similar story. So Solana is a layer 1. I could have put Ethereum in there. I mean, at this point, we're not debating whether Ethereum or Solana is better. They're L1s. They're coming for the entire financial services industry. They're innovating. They're innovating with nobody. I mean, if you compare the number of employees in TradFi, in traditional finance, compare the number of employees, compare this to those who build on these platforms, on these L1s, I mean, you have 99.99% less people building this. And that's why they're disrupting. I said the other day in my video talking about PayPal. PayPal is not doing well. I didn't like that call at all. I don't understand why PayPal has 16,000 employees for a transaction fee business. It makes absolutely no sense. They should have 9 people like Tether. That's what Tether does. So Bitcoin is dead. Now you hear crypto is dead. Now don't forget, smart contracts such as Solana have the ability to replace, you name it, stock exchanges, stock markets, betting platforms, art platforms, chatting, messaging apps, YouTube eventually. You can rebuild so many different techs you can rebuild on these software layers. You can rebuild so much on these software layers. So much. If you follow the space, you know how innovative of a space this is, right? Solana coded in Rust, the most epic coding language in the history of coding languages. Slated to win. No company can be a match over the long run. But over the short run, you just have these liquidation events, these purge events. So your only job in the 2020s is to not get wiped out. Your only job is to not get wiped out. Now, to make people mad, people are going to complain about strategy, complain about Sailor. Strategy is behaving as intended. As I've always said, if Bitcoin is doing awful, strategy will do awful. That's what's happening. Bitcoin's down 13% on the day. Strategy is down 17%. We are below 1.5x. We are below 1.5x, right? We should be closer to down 19% today. So strategy technically is outperforming as much as people look at the price and they just feel pain. They just feel pain because they see the red and they feel the pain, right? This is prospect theory. Losing $100 is much more painful than making $100. And this is how you get dumb decisions like people buying UPS, right? As if UPS is the future. As if anyways, it makes absolutely no sense. I cannot emphasize invest in tobacco, right? Invest in Philip Morris. Yeah, right. All governments are pro Philip Morris. They love it. You don't have people trying to ban the product. You don't have everything going against these companies. No. Go buy this. Makes no sense. No financial advice, of course. Anyways, folks are getting shaken out of crypto. And of course, this is high time for engagement formers. This is how you can get an X account from 10,000 people to 1 million people. By posting things like Bitcoin to 30K, Ponzi scheme, Solana to $30. Entirely ignoring the fact that there is literally no longs left to liquidate. From what I understand, there's something like a few $100,000 left to be liquidated to the downside, and we need to drop to like 62,000 or something. On the other hand, there's 28 billion people who are so confident that Bitcoin is going to zero that they're shorting it because they're so confident Bitcoin is going to zero. Do you want to short Bitcoin? Do you want to short Tesla? Do you want to short the future of our species? Do you really want to do that? Because essentially that's what this is. Whether it's Bitcoin or Tesla, these are the most advanced companies of our species, and they're also the most hated one. And of course, somebody who likes Bitcoin may dislike Tesla, or vice versa. Few people get both. But anyways, if you look at Tesla, just study Tesla as an experiment in human nature. When Tesla was $130, you remember that was 3 years ago, everything was seemingly going wrong for Tesla. Elon Musk had bought X. And I remember everybody was swearing that Tesla would go to 69. Tons of people stayed on the sidelines, waited for Tesla to go to 69. I have no idea why they chose 69. Probably because of meme science or meme culture. It makes no sense. No sense at all. So people make up charts. They make up beautiful charts, and they just handpick and hand select which charts fits the narrative. And you can make a chart. You can overlay some rulers. Overlay some rules. You can make your technical analysis fit the price action, and you can tell any story. It's all narratives, and these narratives travel so fast, and it makes absolutely no sense. And then you have amazing narratives, of course, like the Bitcoin Sander, Saifedean's book. Is a narrative that's not accessible to a lot of people because it seems like nobody is willing to just sit down and read for 10 hours. It seems like it is something that people don't do anymore. So anyways, speaking of Tesla and other N of 1 companies, earlier today I covered HIMS. HIMS, amazing news in the morning. Of course, the stock ended up being down despite amazing news. Better than anything we expected. So that was HIMS this morning. Feel free to go look at my other video. Let's talk about Tesla and Palantir. Of course, Tesla, Palantir, it's simple. Anything remotely innovative today was down between 5 and 15%. Anything remotely making sense today was down between 5 and 15%. Typically, the more innovative you are, the more down you were. So yeah, these companies are being sold off. Tesla is being sold off. Palantir is being sold off. I guess humanoids are never going to be a thing. They're not coming. I guess energy is not coming. I guess self-driving is not coming. I guess robotaxi is not coming. And Palantir, I guess what they do is not that extraordinary. I guess we don't owe them any of the most major geopolitical changes of the last few months. I guess they did nothing with that. I guess people don't go crazy for their products. Palantir is still slightly expensive, so is Tesla. But it's probably a shadow of their future. They're probably trading at a shadow of what they will be trading at in the future. And one day people will get them. One day these companies will be companies that everybody gets, like Google or like Amazon. And even then, Google and Amazon, they still have to fight for their ideas sometimes. Anyways, this makes absolutely no sense. This is the purge. Let me tell you, with much humility, I have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. I have no idea. I really, really, really don't know. But I haven't trusted this market. So I have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm sitting on the sidelines, and I'm going in the forest. I'm going on a walk. I'm walking a lot these days, taking a lot of steps, listening to books that have nothing to do with finance. And that's probably what you should do too. But anyways, this was not investment advice, not financial advice. This is only entertainment. Entertainment only on this channel. Please subscribe. Follow me on Patreon. Follow me on X. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.